over the steps that I showed yesterday for going through these problems. Labeling our pattern, whether it's a 30-60-90 or 45-45-90 will depend on what the pattern is. Then we are going to say, what are we given? Right? Which of those sides are we given? And what is the pattern for that side? And we're going to set those two things equal to each other. And that's how we get our equation. So we're going to do that today with a couple more examples to kind of wrap up what we're talking about here. So these ones are going to be 30, 60, 90 triangles. So that means we have a 30-degree angle. Here's the 60 and here's the 90. So that one's got to be the 30. And across from my 30 should be my short leg, which I'm labeling S. Across from the 60 should be my long leg, which is S times the square root of 3. And across from that right angle, the 90-degree angle, should be my hypotenuse, which is 2S. So then we are going to circle. Here's the one we're given. We're given this as 10. So what did we label that as? We labeled that as 2S. 2S is 10. So we set those equal to each other and solve the equation. S is 5. So that is my short leg. My short leg was B, so that's 5. And to get my long leg, all I need to do is take that short leg, which was 5, and multiply it by square root of 3. Done. And just like we did on Monday, some of you might be able to kind of jump to that in your head and say, oh, the hypotenuse is double the short leg, so if 10 was my doubling, then that means that 5 is what I had to start with. And then the long leg, tack on the square root of 3, done. All right, if you're good to go with doing those that fast and doing those as kind of a shortcut, then that's fine. I am showing that longer process for those of you that kind of need that more step-by-step idea.
So we can like jump steps. Do we have to show like all the work, or can we just jump the steps?
If you jump to here, that's fine.
Okay.
There are some problems on the homework that I would expect most of you will be able to jump to there and just be able to tell me here's what A is and here's what B is. This one, maybe some of you, and then this one is harder. I would expect most of you would need to show the work for this one. We'll get to it. Next one, 13 over 2. I'm going to do this one pretty quickly because it should be pretty easy. This one's 30. So across from my 30 should be my short leg. My hypotenuse should be across from the right angle. And then my long leg is S squared of 3 across from the 60. And the reason this one is pretty easy is because I don't really need to solve any equation because I'm given my short leg. My short leg is 13 over 2. So when I go to figure out what A is, I just need to take that short leg, which is 13 over 2, and I need to double it. So you could say it's 26 over 2 and simplify it, but the 2's cancel. It should just be 13. Right? 26 divided by 2 is 13. And then for B, what we're going to do is we're going to take that short leg and we're going to tack a square root of 3 onto it. tack square root of 3 on, we get 13 square root of 3 over 2. And that's my answer. Now, I'm going to give you about 30 seconds on this next one, and I want you to try to label this triangle correctly with the pattern. Hypotenuse is double. Here's my short leg. Here's my long leg, which would be s square root of 3. So when I say what am I given, I'm given this side, so that's my equation that I'm going to set up. Divide by 3, or divide by square root of 3 to solve the equation. And now we're going to have to do a whole bunch of square root simplifying. Here it comes. All right, let's talk through this. First of all, we get 15 over square root of 3. So we need to get rid of the square root of 3 on the bottom. That's going to be multiplying by square root of 3 over square root of 3. And we chose square root of 3 to match with this square root of 3 on the bottom because square root of 3 times square root of 3 is 3. No more square root on the bottom. And then to simplify here, remember we can only simplify and multiply and divide if either they're both out of the square root or they're both in the square root. I can't simplify something out with something in. So the 15 and the 3 are both out of the square root, so 15 over 3 is 5. Square root of 3. And so that's my short leg. My short leg was here was y, 5 square root of 3. And then x is my hypotenuse, so I just need to multiply it by 2. Again, both out of the square root. So I have 2 times 5 outside of that square root is going to be 10 square root of 3. So again, those are that's one of the more complicated problems where you may need to set up and show some work. The important thing as we move forward here is that as we're looking at our test, it's going to be on Friday. As we're looking forward at that, we have 3 main tools to solve for sides here. Most of the problems are going to use Pythagorean theorem that we talked about last week and the week before. But you need to make sure that you know whether you're using a 45-45-90 or 30-60-90 triangle. Those are our other 2 tools. Because remember, 45-45-90 had our S, S, and S root 2. That was our other pattern. So pay attention to what information you have and know which pattern we're looking at. So we're going to do a couple pretty easy ones and making sure that we know which pattern we're looking at. Back up. 24-foot long bleacher has a base angle of 30 degrees. I should say degrees. I'm going to do this really fast. 24. Across from the 30 is my short leg. This is the hypotenuse. So that's what I'm given. So I solve, and that's 12. So the height that I'm looking for is 12 feet. Done. Right? A lot of these should go that fast. The idea is that this is a shortcut to find it. And it should be just as fast for you to tell me that to find this side, if I wanted to find that horizontal length, I would take my 12, and because of my pattern says to take that short leg and attach square root of 3 onto it. Done. All right, let's do one more. We'll do one more, and then I'm going to help you with a homework problem here. Baseball field. I had one of these in the homework last week, and you had to draw out the whole baseball diamond, and you had to figure out, you had to set a Pythagorean theorem, and you had to simplify some square roots, and it was really complicated. And now we're going to do it very quickly because it's going to be one of our patterns. Home to first is 90. This is a square. A square, we haven't talked about, we haven't talked much about quadrilaterals, four-sided shapes. A square has all the sides the same and all the angles the same. So that means all the angles are 90 degrees. All the sides are the same means that if this is 90, this is 90. Which, if you know baseball, I probably didn't need to tell you that all the distances along the base paths are 90 feet. Now, this is 90 and this is 90, and bam, right triangle. And this right triangle, hopefully you can spot it. So these are each 90 feet. And since those sides are the same, we also have the angles being the same. So we got two clues that this is one of my patterns. Both the angles are the same. If you got the angles marked congruent like that, then that means they both have to be 45. We talked about that on Monday. Or if both of these sides are the same, that means that that's got to be a 45, 45, 90 pattern, because that has both the sides the same, and that leaves this to be 90 and tack square root of 2 onto it. Done. Instead of doing Pythagorean theorem and having to simplify that big long square root, we just say that the answer is 90 square root of 2. Questions on that? All right. I want to do something a little out of order here, which is I'm going to go through a homework problem here. And I want to know what this is. That's our process. I want to get you started on this problem. Just follow along for now. The tricky part of this problem is that there's two different triangles going on. We got a 45, 45, 90 going on, and we have a 30, 60, 90 going on. And so the key part, anytime you have two different shapes in the same diagram, it's going to help you to separate out those different shapes. So I have, here's my 45, 45, 90 triangle. So let me separate that out. And I know that's 10. Well, then I know the other leg has to match it and also be 10, and I know this has to be 10 root 2. So let's go ahead and slot those in. I won't be doing the whole problem. Then I'm going to turn to my 30, 60, 90 triangle. Let's draw that out separately over here. 60. And guess what? I know one of the sides because we just got it from the 45, 45, 90. So it transfers over, and it's still 10 root 2. reflexive property. And now I can label my 30, 60, 90 parts. This is S. This is S root 3. Here's what I'm looking for. And then this is 2S. And then we can solve it from there. So when you have those two triangles together, separate them out and then find that side that connects it. That's what's going to help you with that problem.